Schools in Jakarta are turned to isolation centers for recovering patients. City volunteers visit local leaders in China to prepare for upcoming events to deliver warmth. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Siri Su. Thank you for joining us. It has been 3 months since COVID-19 spread to Indonesia, and the good news is the number of those recovering from the virus is on the rise. As hospitals are overcrowded, schools are asked to become isolation centers for recovering patients. Thus, we visit one of the schools being asked to help out during this pandemic battle.
As the confirmed cases of those affected with the novel coronavirus continue to rise in the country, local Jakarta government plans to set up some school campuses as isolation centers for healthcare workers to rest. Among the schools being asked is Central Jakarta's third public high school. The school was established in 1953 and has a multi-purpose hall. After making arrangements, the hall now holds 11 beds, and it includes an air conditioner unit.
This isn't for those with confirmation of the virus, but for those who need further follow-up. The local village chief has let us know that we are still in 0 confirmed cases locally.
As the school turns into an isolation center, the principal is quick to let the students and parents know this building is not for those confirmed with the virus.
We are only providing the space and the sanitizing, while the government is giving us beds and other needed equipment.
Currently, the isolation center is not operational yet. In the end, the school hopes to do their part in helping the government to stop the spread of the virus.
In the capital of Indonesia, Jakarta, COVID-19 has spread quickly. If residents are sick, they might not want to visit a hospital for fear of catching the virus. Since March, Tzu Chi's DaAi Hospital elevated their level of health protection to include face shields for children.
The threat of COVID-19 has everyone's guard up against safe hygiene practices. Though the hospital has door checks and the patient visits have decreased, there are still those who need to visit the hospital.
It's a hot issue because some people are not adhering to the government set rules for health protection. If the parents don't follow the rules, then the children can easily catch the virus.
This grandmother is at the hospital with her granddaughter Kyra to see a doctor, as Kyra has thalassemia and must see a doctor regularly for routine checkups.
What's there to do when it's our time to follow up? We should come back. If we're afraid, then I don't know when we can receive treatment. This hospital has good service, especially Dr. Suryadi. He's very good to my grandchild.
Caring for the children isn't just a motto they go by, but something they put into action, as they make face shields, especially for children, to have them avoid the discomfort which comes from long hours of wearing a mask.
We want the parents to trust the hospital, especially here at Tzu Chi DaAi Hospital. Health prevention is a part that we must do completely since we want the children to be healthy and safe.
The healthcare workers take some time to make face shields for children. Those in the waiting room must also practice social distance, as well as setting up specific reservation times for those children needing vaccinations. This way, the spread of the disease is lessened.
We hope COVID-19 is put to rest soon, and that people continue to cheer on the health workers on the front line.
The hospital safeguards the front line, while residents must do their part in this pandemic prevention, so we can all see an end to the battle with COVID-19.
Today, we introduce you to a touching story of filial piety in Changhua. A daughter couldn't bear her father being a widower. She encouraged him to go back to university to get a degree. She even accompanied him every day of his studies for 4 years.
On the campus of Zhenguo Technology University, a father and daughter pair are very unique. It's not the father accompanying his daughter to class, but actually the other way around.
Every time he's in the top 3 in the class, yes, I'm very proud of my dad, who's a very serious student.
Showing off his father's certificate, Jia is also his father's tutor after class.
She is very strict. The teacher can teach something for 3 times without getting angry. My daughter can only do it twice before she gets angry.
Cai Guolang is graduating this year. 4 years ago, because he could not bear the loss of his wife, his daughter encouraged him to return to school. On the day of teacher appreciation banquet, he embraced his daughter tightly as the two have walked a long path together. Not only did his daughter accompany him to school every time, but she even gave up a boyfriend who wanted to get married.
I
didn't cherish my time with my mother before, so now I'm really seizing the time to be with my dad.
Sometimes we care about our parents, but we don't take action. But I think his daughter took action to care for her father, especially when her mother left them.
This class instructor has been with them for 4 years. She is often moved to tears thinking about this act of filial piety, which has been on display at their campus.
Some people say that watermelon juice has abundant lycopene and can improve immune systems. Is this saying correct? Let's listen to the doctors.
On the hot days, an iced watermelon juice can calm you down. The lycopene is more abundant than tomatoes, and you can absorb it without cooking it in high temperature.
The watermelon's got many lycopene and it can improve our immune systems. It contains many mineral vitamins, including vitamin B1.
The internet has sayings that eating watermelon or drinking watermelon juice every day can improve the immune system. People have different opinions on this.
它里面维他命应该含量蛮多的，所以你觉得是有可能的？对。你觉得喝了真的会对身体增强免疫力吗？不认为，我认为运动最有效。
The nutrients of watermelon is recognized by doctors. However, due to the high glucose content, not everyone is suitable to eat it.
The 3 high groups, including the diabetes, high cholesterol, they are not suitable for it.
Eating the fresh fruit is better than drinking juice. Though it might be healthy to the body, one should still remain a balanced diet to look after your health.
In Taiwan, there's the shortage of a few medications without substitutes. In fact, the problem lies in uneven distribution of medications. In the past, the amount of medications at hospitals and clinics is much more than community pharmacies. However, due to the pandemic, the public do not dare to go to hospitals, and therefore more people are getting their medications from community pharmacies. To solve the problem, the government has implemented a policy.
The raw materials for more than 20 kinds of medications produced by Penbiotic laboratories are stored in this warehouse. However, due to the shortage of raw materials, the shelves have become empty.
There's shortage of Polupi, which is used to treat hyperthyroidism. It takes up 80% of the domestic market.
Currently, we only have 1 bucket of our raw materials for Pulupi from China. We cannot produce enough medications. According to regulations, if our factory uses raw materials from other countries, the process will take at least a year.
We speed up the inspection process of factories using substitute raw materials or their own raw materials. Such cases have grown for at least 20%.
The government has specially shortened the inspection time from a year to 2 months. As a result, the raw materials from Germany have arrived at Penbiotic laboratories. The pharmaceutical factory turns the powdery raw materials into tablets before packaging them.
In Taiwan, the monthly need for Polupe is more than 1 million tablets. With our new manufacturing process, we can start to provide the medication in September.
The raw materials from Germany is more than double the price. Due to the social responsibility, we have to invest on the raw materials, and we must do this to ensure the health protection of the users.
While the manufacturers are finding substitutes for raw materials, if there's not medications, community pharmacies have set up their own management systems.
The color purple indicates we are unsure when there will be a supply for this kind of medication. Maybe there is a problem related to its raw materials. so we are ready to report it to the Food and Drug Administration.
Within our 6,000 pharmacies in Taiwan, if they cannot get the medications, they will be able to report it to the FDA.
For instance, if there is a shortage of antipyretic and analgesic medication, I don't have to worry because there are hundreds of substitutes for it, so there will not be a shortage of medication.
After the patent period of a pharmaceutical's new medication ends, other pharmaceuticals can manufacture generic drug or substitute medication.
More than 80% of medications have substitutes. Different medication with different brands exist. Their dosage and contents are the same.
For few medications that do not have substitutes, once there's a shortage, the government has implemented a policy in March of this year.
Some hospitals have too much of certain medications. We will ask such hospitals to report it to us. If you have enough medication for 3 months, I will ask the hospital to return 2 months' supply to the original pharmaceutical company. Then the company can distribute it to pharmacies.
The government's policy has stabilized the demand and supply of medications. When there's a surplus of medications, pharmaceuticals help other countries.
In Taiwan, there is a shortage of certain medications. However, there is enough antibiotics. Because during the epidemic time, the number of patients decreased and there is less need for antibiotics. In the Pingdong factory of Penbiotic Laboratories, there are more than 4 million shots of antibiotics. 95% of them will be exported to China. Only 5% is left for the domestic market. Antibiotics are effective in treating upper respiratory tract infections and other infections. I cannot say it treats COVID-19, but it is helpful.
Taiwanese pharmaceutical companies are overcoming the problem of raw material shortage and increasing its production to help countries severely hit by the epidemic. The epidemic in any country in the world could lead to an imbalance of medications. In China, Beijing city volunteers go to Yi County and Laiyuan County every winter to deliver love and best wishes to poor families. However, this year it was postponed due to the epidemic. Door-to-door visits have also been canceled, but volunteers' care remains unchanged.
以前都走是国道，现在几乎有高速了，得也好走。蒙来是得差不多要5、6个小时吧。现在有3小时、2半小时、3小时就到。
The Tzu Chi initial survey for the delivering warmth in China that should have been carried out in March was delayed by 2 months due to the epidemic. Fortunately, the residents in Yi County have not been greatly affected.
Our township doesn't belong to poor standard level township in China, but what we're lacking is help. Very few people generally pay attention to the poor households in these non-poor villages. However, we should have care more for children.
The relationship between Tzu Chi and Yi County in Hebei was established in 2009. For more than a decade, Tzu Chi has not only helped Yi County get rid of poverty, but also brought environmental awareness into the village.
The bad habits of littering and hygiene were all gone, and now the residents are pursuing a happy life through Tzu Chi's teaching. They taught us that we are not just asking to eat enough, wear warm clothes, but also pursuing spiritual enjoyment.
During the 2-day initial survey, volunteers also come to Laiyuan County to negotiate with 6 village officers to understand residents' future needs.
Because of the epidemic, it is a major disaster. Every household may be affected, but we still hope that the residents will have a good year in winter.
This year, due to the epidemic, volunteers have cancelled conducting home visits, but providing the care for the residents have not diminished. Hoping this love seen in summer will continue to keep the people warm until winter.
Sichuan Dazhou City volunteers used to take the long journey every month to go to Chengdu to do volunteer work. The Jingtang City grounds used to be like a second home for them. After the outbreak, the volunteer activities had to stop. Finally, they have been able to return to spiritual home and volunteer.
When these elder volunteers say they are going home, what they mean is that they are returning to the Tzu Chi Jingtang grounds. This was the first time many of these elderly ladies reunited after the epidemic subsided.
Look at how beautiful our home is. We're all Bodhisattvas from Dazhou. I'm very happy in my heart. The lotus flowers are blooming. I'm happy to do anything.
The joy of returning home is reflected in their singing, as this group of volunteers, with an average age over 75 years old, both their eyes and hands have experienced years of hardship, though the first thing, when they go home, is doing sewing work quite quickly.
We came to sew these covers. The ones that are missing are sewing threads. We sew it up so Tzu Chi people and our family who come back to stay here in the future can be well and happy.
From Dazhou to Chengdu, the journey takes almost 7 hours, as many believe completing the mission is quite important. Even though they stopped volunteer activities for several months because of the coronavirus epidemic, though with the restarting of such activities, love and compassion is once again starting to flourish in the community.
In Sifang, Sichuan, Tzu Chi has funded DaAi Technology to provide more work opportunities. For 10 years, the company has been providing vegetarian meals to its employees to nurture their compassion.
On the disassembly line of the TV sets, the employees have to process more than 1,300 TV sets daily. As a 29-inch TV weighs 30 kilograms, the work requires much physical strength.
Every day, more than 1,000 TVs pass by me. We separate and weigh them before they are placed into frames and disassembled. The work requires a lot of physical strength.
To carry out such strenuous work, the employees need to supplement their nutrients. Since its founding, Shifang DaAi Technology has been providing vegetarian meals to its employees.
We provide vegetarian meals for the purpose of environmental protection and health promotion. We usually use our seasonal vegetables. Then we add mushrooms, peanuts, and nuts. Usually we do not add too much nuts, but we will add them in every meal.
Look at me, to be honest, I'm thin. However, I'm quite healthy. Although I adopt a vegetarian diet, my physical strength is well and our nutrition are balanced. I seldom catch a cold.
After I adopt a vegetarian diet, my temperament has become calmer. I'm not as hot-tempered. Seeing these little animals, I begin to feel for them.
For 10 years, the company has persisted in providing vegetarian meals to its employees, promoting environmental protection and healthy lifestyle.
In Tainan, there's a Tzu Chi volunteer who has been spreading awareness of vegetarianism while doing recycling. This act was highly accepted by the local residents.
For 5 days in a week in Xingshi's alleys, we're able to hear Kang Xiuyuan's bright voice. Apart from doing recycling, she also tells everyone about the benefits of being a vegetarian.
Adopting a vegetarian diet is practicing inner recycling. Every night I'll have dreams on how to promote vegetarianism. So when I go and collect recyclables, I'll also tell the residents to adopt a vegetarian diet.
She's like a moving speaker. With vegetarian meal boxes in her hands, she has managed to spread awareness about vegetarianism in the local vegetarian street. And within a month, the number of orders has increased by 5 times.
It's very delicious. I don't know how to cook vegetarian food, so I can learn how to cook from these lunch boxes.
The recycling volunteers has started a wave of vegetarian diet, and there are only good comments by the local residents.
If it's these type of dishes, of course I can adopt a vegetarian meal every day.
These are mild-flavored dishes, and it suits my appetite. I usually eat very mild dishes.
They deliver to schools, residential areas, and work buildings. A local administrator was moved and volunteered to promote vegetarianism together.
Every meal counts. At least we give them an opportunity to try, to let them understand that vegetarian meals are also delicious.
I always emphasize that it's a vegetarian meal box. They will be willing to try out. They will start to invite their friends and also remind me to register the 1 vegetarian meal per week activity. This is really a confidence boost for me.
From being timid to being able to promote vegetarianism with confidence, a simple act of promoting vegetarianism while doing recycling has led to an unexpected achievement. She's aiming to spread more awareness, inspiring more people to make a change.
The campus of Zhuozhen Elementary School in Tainan was severely damaged in the Tainan earthquake in 2016. Tzu Chi helped to build 5 prefabricated classrooms. Now they also set up a Jinshi reading room in the school.
The Jinshi reading room was set up in Zhuozhen Elementary School so that the teachers and students in rural area can come to read books.
This
book is inspirational. It's about the philosophy of life.
There are books for children to learn positive philosophy of life so that they can purify their minds here.
The campus of the elementary school was severely damaged in the earthquake that happened in 2016. Tzu Chi helped to build prefabricated classrooms.
A space, a book, and even a sentence may affect the future of children. There's hope that this reading room can accompany the children in rural areas to grow up.
Allow the children to read as much as possible and also learn to be grateful and pay back in the future.
The industrialist Fu Yulan, who is an overseas Chinese in Laos, thinks of her hometown when visiting the elementary school here.
Tzu Chi has been doing disaster relief in Laos, so I want to seize this opportunity to pay back. This is our wish.
The previous principal of Zhuozhen Elementary School, who was invited to set up Jinshi reading room before, was transferred to Jinshi Elementary School. He also brought this good affinity there.
To allow the reading room to be the starting point of our life education through reading in our humanities campus.
Through good books to encourage children to read and find the strength in life.
Students from Taichung School for the Visually Impaired enjoy bike rides with the help of teachers and parents. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.